Hey guys, John here from Bring the SEO. Today I'm going to walk you through what an SEO campaign looks like, a productized SEO campaign. This is a video taken directly from the SEO Accelerator program. I wanted to share this with you because I've shared videos like this in the past and they're always quite popular. So I wanted to demonstrate what a productized SEO campaign looks like. Now, why does productizing your service matter as an SEO consultant? Well, there are numerous benefits in terms of doing that, but the main one is being able to build out repeatable processes and systems. These are processes that you can use over and over and over again, and they don't change between campaigns. Now, in order to be able to do that, it's essential that you niche down and specialize. You've got to niche down and specialize in a particular industry so you can essentially build out your SEO campaigns in a way in which it's almost comparable to an assembly line where every single campaign is identical. So that's why it's beneficial in terms of productizing. And of course, when you build out repeatable processes and systems, you can work towards scale and automation. When you're working as a generalist and every single campaign is different, it becomes an absolute nightmare. And this is why a lot of SEO consultants, get to the point of exhaustion and suffer from burnout. Anyway, that's enough from me. I hope you enjoy the video. SEO campaigns can often seem like overwhelming and confusing projects, especially when there are so many moving parts and much of what's involved isn't always obvious. In order to help, I've created a complete SEO campaign diagram to help you visualize the entire process. Being able to visualize a campaign and see it in its entirety will help you get a better understanding of each stage, as well as the relationships between those stages and, of course, operational workflow. Whilst this diagram doesn't include every step within a campaign, it does include the main ones. The better you understand how this all pieces together, the easier and more effective the learning process will be. Let's now go through each stage and I'll explain how the entire process works. Client acquisition process. The starting point. This is where we'll be generating leads and attracting prospects. This can be done via organic or paid traffic, or even a combination of both. What matters most at this stage is that you have structure to the way in which you generate leads. Of course, in order to establish yourself and produce consistent leads, you'll need to have worked your way through the niche selection process, validated your niche, and know exactly who you're targeting. Pre-qualify. The next step involves pre-qualifying the lead. This, of course, is the first stage of the sales process and takes place during the first discussion when the initial inquiry is received. The pre-qualification process helps us protect our time, control the conversation, and ensures we only work with clients who we consider an ideal fit. Good fit, yes or no? During the pre-qualification stage, we ask a series of questions in order to determine whether or not the prospect is a good fit. This should be defined by a number of key questions, such as the niche they operate in, revenue, sale or lead value, and current situation. If they qualify, they are considered a good fit and we move on to the next stage. If not, the lead should be rejected or referred over to another service provider. The sales presentation. The sales presentation is the second and final stage of the sales process, and it's where we pitch for the actual project. Even though we refer to this as the sales presentation, it's much more than that. It's an opportunity to demonstrate value, outline our processes, make recommendations, and set expectations. The sales presentation is a key part of the campaign process and one that you should study closely and invest time towards. Close. The next step is closing the lead and converting a prospect into a paying client. This, of course, leads us into the next phase, which is the client onboarding process. Collecting payment. By far the most important part of the client onboarding process, collecting payment. You must always collect full payment in advance before doing anything. No work, research, meetings, or anything else should be done until payment is collected. Send gift. As a way of thanking the client and strengthening the relationship, sending a welcome gift is recommended at the next step. Sending a small gift demonstrates that you value the client and appreciate their business. The client questionnaire. The client questionnaire is a document that we ask the client to fill out ahead of scheduling the initial strategy session. Remember, at this point of the project, we only have a brief understanding of the client's business and their objectives. So it's important that we gather this information so that we can get a really good understanding of everything before we begin the campaign. Don't forget also that in addition to gathering this information, we also need to request user credentials in order to access various properties such as Google Analytics, Search Console, and their website. All of this information should be collected within a client questionnaire, which I recommend you host on Google Drive. The initial strategy session. The initial strategy session is the next step and should be hosted once the client has completed the questionnaire. You'll find for some clients they might need assistance with answering some of the questions, so you can always do that during this call. You do, however, want to gather as much information within the questionnaire ahead of the call in an effort to save time. What matters most during the call is outlined further in the training. However, it's essential that you get a good understanding of their business, their goals and objectives, and focus points. You'll essentially want to ensure that you're absolutely clear on everything ahead of getting started. Campaign setup. Getting everything in place for the campaign is the next step, which essentially involves setting up the campaign within your project management system, uploading all necessary documentation to Google Drive or a suitable alternative, confirming logins and staff access, and anything else that might be required as part of campaign preparedness. Developing the initial strategy. This part of the process is where you spend time researching the market, reverse engineering competitors, and planning out campaign strategy. You might find initially that this part of the process can be quite time intensive. However, once you niche down and specialize, you'll find this part of the process gets easier, simply because you'll have that previous knowledge and expertise that you can carry over from previous campaigns. Copying the site to a live staging environment. Once campaign strategy is understood, the site should be backed up into a live staging environment. We do this for various reasons, but namely to have as a point of reference, and of course as a backup. We'll be extracting data from this backup and using it to prepare our web template, which is covered in the following steps. Be mindful that this diagram represents a productized service delivery, where we'll be using pre-made web templates targeting a particular niche. We do this, of course, to save time and create more efficiency within our operations. Pre-made web template preparation. The next step is where we choose the most suitable template from our library of designs, upload it to the test server, and begin the process of readying it for use. This essentially means changing all of the colors for branding, uploading the client's logo, migrating the data or information over, and having it ready for deployment. Be mindful that the objective at this stage is to move quickly and reduce or completely remove any form of customization. You should be able to pull everything over from the existing site and have the new site ready within days. Finalize layout and design. The final stage includes preparing the template in readiness for deployment. This step should include double-checking everything and getting the go-ahead from the client to proceed. Of course, a discussion should be held to determine the best time to perform the changeover in an effort to minimize disruption. Go live. Performing the actual migration of the new site and going live. Extensive testing should be performed at this step to ensure everything is working as intended and that there are no problems. All forms of tracking should be reinstated also, such as heat map tracking, Facebook pixels, and Google Analytics. Goal tracking. The next step involves setting up goal tracking. At this stage, you'll want to add tracking code to track both email inquiries and phone calls. By default, call tracking should be included as part of your service offering. Once this has been set up, extensive testing should be performed, including ensuring data is being captured and that data is being displayed correctly within Google Analytics and, of course, your reports. Complete main content and structure. When launching a new site, you'll find in almost every case there'll be a difference between the previous site structure and the new site structure. This will have a direct impact on content and will require your initial efforts to be focused on either deleting, consolidating, or creating new content to support the new framework. It's important that this takes place as part of the SEO campaign and not whilst the template is under development. Citations. Whilst the previous step is underway, citations can be actioned. This is an area that I would recommend outsourcing as it's quite time intensive and a relatively low skill task. It's important to have all required business information from the client before commencing this step. Ongoing on-page and off-page. This phase of the campaign is what I refer to as the holding pattern. At this stage of the project, the campaign is established. You've uploaded the new site template, you've completed all the required content in order to populate the new site structure, and now you're essentially creating blog posts and building links, month after month. This cycle continues indefinitely until the campaign finishes. Monthly reporting. At the end of each billing cycle, reporting is prepared, including the work summary sheet, site performance including earnings, and keyword performance. Those 3 reports are prepared in readiness for the end-of-month strategy call. End-of-month strategy calls. The end-of-month strategy calls are scheduled and held with the client to review the reports as well as confirm earnings, cover keynotes, and answer any questions. End-of-month strategy calls are a great way to build strong client relationships and improve retention rates. End campaign or campaign continues. At this point, the campaign either continues or comes to an end. If the campaign has been finalized, the campaign closeout procedures should be followed. Alternatively, the campaign continues, payment is processed, and the cycle continues. Hey, if you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to learn more, head over to bringtheseo.com. We provide business development training for SEO consultants wanting to improve their processes, increase profits, and scale to $100,000 a month or more without all the stress and overwhelm.